Hello everyone, my name is Amy. Welcome to a Sims 4 house building video. Today I'm going to be building a house that is on top of the mountain that came with the Snowy Escape expansion pack, and we're on the 50 by 50 lot. And before I get into the details of this specific build, I just want to say that it's been probably 8 years or so since I've posted any content on this channel, and during that time, I've still been playing The Sims. It's definitely a passion of mine. It's something that I enjoy doing, but I think building, like making videos and editing them and making thumbnails and all of the tech stuff behind it is definitely not in my comfort zone. But having said that, I do feel like this is probably the best way for me to share like my content with other people, or basically just talk about The Sims with anybody who cares to listen. So if that's you, then I'm happy to have you here. Welcome to the channel, and let's go ahead and talk about this build. So I am building a house in which I've called Ledgewood, and this house is based off of a house that I had actually toured in real life, like with the intention of buying it. And at the time, like I was planning on buying it with my parents and my daughter and like my family. So there was going to be like multiple generations like living in the house. And so that is one of the things that I really liked about this particular build, is that it's supposed to be like a generational house. So I would say there's probably a good portion of the main level that is based off of the house that I had toured in real life, but like the entire downstairs, there's a whole back portion of the house that is entirely made up in The Sims. You can do that. You can have reality meet fantasy, and kind of get to explore. So that is definitely something that I did. So the first part of the build was rather easy because it was based off of reality, but then I do end up adding a lot of things that are not part of the like real house that I had got to tour in The Sims. But there was several things that I wanted to accomplish with this build, and one was going to be that I wanted to kind of mess around with the editing of the terrain elevation. So when you walk in from what I will call the main entrance or the front door, that is going to be on a different elevation than from the back of the house. So if you're kind of looking at it, I know this goes quite fast, but when you're looking at it, the house is kind of floating, and that's because I'm going to kind of mess around with the elevation towards the end of this like portion of the video. So I hope that kind of makes sense. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to achieve that, but I know you can build a house and then like lower the house down and then create like a walkout basement that way. But I didn't want to lower the house because it's supposed to be on top of the mountain, and I wanted to make it like almost seem as if like the house was up higher. So I wanted to kind of raise it up. So I didn't want to sink it down any further. I wanted to raise it up. I intended on adding a whole bunch of rocks on for the landscaping, but with the snow in the world, it doesn't really look as good as I was planning on, so it wasn't something I was able to do. But I do create a yard, and this house is not floating, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I do end up raising the terrain in the front part, and then the back is kind of like exposed. So that was one of the things that I wanted to accomplish. The other thing that I really wanted to accomplish, and I'm starting to work on now, is like this whole back section goes like from the basement to the second story to the second story or main level, I guess, and then like the third story. So what I'm working right now is a second set of staircases. So there are two sets of stairs in the house, one kind of in the main entry area, and then one in this back extension or like I call it an extension because this part of the house is completely made up. Like this was not part of the original house that I had toured in real life. So it's an extension, I guess is the way I see it, and it kind of looks like it could have been possibly part of the original house, or like the Sims had this the regular house and then they added like this big old section to the back end of it. I guess that's technically how you can say it too, but I wanted to have two separate staircases because I remember always watching a show as a kid. I'm sure many of you have seen it or heard of it, called Full House. And it always bothered me that you would have a set of stairs in the living room that would go upstairs to presumably the bedroom area. And then if you walk through the kitchen, there's also a set of stairs that go upstairs. And then there's like a different set of stairs that would go down to the basement. And on the show, they show you like the upstairs hallway where the bedrooms are. And I know like it's a show, I totally get it. It's a set, it's not real, but that always bothered me. Like, why would you have two sets of staircases in such a small house? Like, make it make sense. And so I wanted to create a floor plan in which it made sense to have two separate staircases, either because the original part of the house didn't like only had one, I guess, like set of stairs. And then when you made the addition, then you would added another staircase just to make it easier access. I guess that's kind of like what I'm thinking about. Or again, it could have been a part of the original build idea, but just because the floor plan is so long, it just kind of makes sense to have two separate staircases. So that was definitely something that I wanted to accomplish. And the last thing is I wanted in this house was to have a portion of it on an angle. And if you're not really familiar with Sims, it doesn't really make sense. Like, of course you can have a house or wall on a different angle. Like there's nothing weird about that. But in The Sims, it does make it kind of challenging to build, just placing furniture, and the walls are it's just a weird, like, to have things on an angle. And so I wanted to do that. I actually almost wanted to do the entire house on an angle, but I think the way that this house is so long, I didn't want to do the entire house on an angle. I think I'll have to make that'll be a different project. But you can see this very weird shape of a house that I've created. And that was another thing I kind of wanted to do, is I didn't want it to be like cookie cutter. I wanted it to look like no other house that you would be driving around in the neighborhood and you would see like something similar. So I definitely think I accomplished that. So yeah, that's just some of the things that I wanted to do. The overall floor plan, again, based off of the original house that I had seen, had a primary bedroom that was kind of separate from the rest of the bedrooms. And that would be for what I'm going to call like the grandparents or the first generation. They're basically going to be the owners of the house, and they have their own private ensuite bathroom, as well as a home office that's only accessible through their bedroom. And then also they have like a balcony or terrace off of their bedroom. And then the other three bedrooms are going to be on the other side of the house. So it's kind of like the idea of a larger family coming together. They have their kind of separate living areas or bedroom areas, but then they can all come together in the kitchen and, you know, be able to hang out all together. There's lots of different family spaces or entertainment spaces throughout this house, which is very nice as well. So now I'm trying to figure out the other bedroom areas. And so there is essentially another primary bedroom on the angle of the house, and that is going to be essentially for the child of the first generation. So it would be the second generation Sim that would live here, and they also have their own primary ensuite bathroom. And then they have the other two children's bedrooms are also in this section of the house. And for the kids, I essentially kind of furnished them to be for a child boy and then a teen girl Sim. And the two kids end up sharing a Jack and Jill style bathroom. And I thought about giving them their own, each their own bathroom so they wouldn't have to share. But the way that this house ends up being, I believe it's nine, no, I think I have five full bathrooms and four half bathrooms. Yeah, so I think it's nine bathrooms in total. Obviously, that's a lot of bathrooms. And so I didn't think that they each needed to have their own. I thought it would be okay if they just kind of shared a Jack and Jill style bathroom. I also have eight fireplaces, but I know that seems pretty excessive, but look at the world that we're in. I mean, we are in, like, it's all snow here all the time. So you're probably going to want a lot of fireplaces. And I say there's eight, but technically speaking, there's one fireplace that is in the living room, and on the other side of the wall is the dining room. And I'm going to just pretend as if that's like one fireplace. So I mean, The Sims, of course, is going to count it as two, but I'm just going to pretend like if you were in the living room, you can look through the fireplace and then you would be able to see like through the dining room. I think that would be pretty cool. And then there's also a fireplace on the outside by the hot tub area that is has a fireplace there, but I did have the move objects cheat activated, so it's raised up on a platform. So it's not really functioning. It just kind of is there for looks. But I thought it looked pretty cool. So I don't know how many fireplaces you want to count based off of those little fun facts, but there's a lot of fireplaces in here. House itself costs, I believe it's around 294 simoleons. And I did say that I have to have the move objects cheat on activated when you place this house. Definitely recommended. It is play tested, which I feel like I should say with a couple of asterisks around that, because I play tested mostly for function. So when you come to like the kids' rooms with the toys and a lot of the clutter objects, some of them might not work just quite perfectly, I guess, because I'm just kind of sizing them up, sizing them down, and mostly just kind of putting things there for looks. But for majority, like speaking, the like true function of the house is pretty much play tested. All of like the beds and everything work and function, you know, the bathrooms and everything. So I also never use any CC or like building mods. I do use a few things from the debug catalog that you'll end up seeing, but other than that, I use all of the packs that I have available to me, which is quite a few. I mean, I have like all the expansion packs, all of the game packs except for the Star Wars one, and pretty much all of the building stuff packs, all the stuff packs and all the building kits. So pretty much everything that I have available to me, which obviously is a lot of content. But if you don't have all of the content that I have, it's okay. You can still download the house and the Sims will just replace it with something that you do have. So that's very nice of them. Thank you, Sims. So yeah, now you can kind of see I've finally raised the terrain, the terrain elevation in the front of the house. So the house is no longer floating. So hopefully that kind of makes sense when you're looking at it from the front. It's at one level, and then when you go around to the back, it is at a different level. So I like that I do that. I definitely struggle quite a bit with the roof. It's always going to be probably my least favorite thing to do in The Sims. And then I honestly did it to myself because I have such a weird house, a very like odd floor plan. So especially with having that huge angled piece. But I do think, I mean, I try to do the best that I can to make it look realistic. Towards the off of camera, I end up changing a portion of the roof where I'm actually working right now. That ends up being a third story or a second story, I guess, depending on how you look at the floor plan. But I do that because I had such a hard time making the roof look well, or that I just thought it was better to just add an additional like living space and just roof that, and I think it just made it look a little bit better. So yeah, I do a lot of things off camera. Obviously you're just kind of seeing me building the main portion of the house, but all of the furnishing I do off camera, and that's just because of time. I thought it would just be better to just see the building aspects of it, and then very shortly we're going to jump into the second half of the video, which is basically just going to be touring what I've already completed and built. So hopefully I remember to add some footage of what it looks like without the snow, because I do a little bit of some landscaping. But yeah, we're going to be jumping into that part of the video shortly, so we'll see you all back then. Thanks. Welcome to the tour part of this build. It is snowing in my game, which is kind of nice. We're just gonna kind of take a look at the outside of this house, going all the way into the backyard. I did, again, kind of lightly furnish or landscape a little bit. There's a playground equipment in the back, but I believe the tour should kind of always start by walking into the front door. So we're going to kind of take away the cutaway look. There is the front entrance, and then there is like an archway that's going to go to the main living room. And we'll just kind of pan around. We do have a piano off to the side. There's also a aquarium in what is actually technically the chimney, but we're just gonna pretend that that's not the case. And then we do have a home office outside of the living room. You can kind of zoom in. There's a L-shaped desk, and there's actually no computer in the office, but that's because I do have two home offices, and the teenager actually has a computer in her room. So there are two computers. And this is what I was talking about, having like a double-sided fireplace. So you can see the fireplace is like the same from one room to the other. So we're just going to pretend that that's the same. We're actually going to head upstairs really quick to what I'm going to call the bonus room. You can see I just kind of put some things around, like some basic clutter. There is a full bathroom up here, so you could potentially make this another bedroom if you needed it, but for me, I didn't need the other bedroom, and that was part of the house that I just made an addition on after I had already furnished, so I just kind of left that blank. But off of the kitchen, we're going to have a little bit of a different view. We do have a little hallway, and then there is a bathroom, and then one of two laundry rooms. So the bathroom is just a half bathroom. There's no shower or anything in that one. And then we do have, again, this is kind of like a hallway here. There's a door that's going to lead into the garage. And I do have the car that is from Debug, but then I did buy the like garage like stuff kit or whatever it was, just to kind of have some clutter in the garage, which I think is quite nice. And then there are doors, I think these are double doors. Yeah, double doors that lead into the primary bedroom. And one of the things that I like to do in my builds is to make obviously by using the move objects on cheat, my sim has like kind of like a king size bed. And as you can see, it's totally functional. So yeah, we just have like two beds placed together, and yeah, they can definitely use the bed. And then we have a ensuite bathroom that is for the primary bedroom, and then this is the primary bedroom's like home office. And as you can see, I have another sim in here on the computer, and then they have a small balcony outside of their bedroom that is private just for them. So we're going to go out of the hallway kind of back into the kitchen so you can kind of see that a little bit better. And then there are some double doors that lead out to an outside balcony. I wasn't quite sure if Sims would go out here, but they did. In my game just a little bit ago, they finished up breakfast, and they all sat out here at this table and in the snow. So I thought that was quite interesting. But there are some stairs that go down, and this is where I was mentioning the hot tub, and there is that fireplace that is not functional. There's some greenery around there just to kind of make it look cute, but the hot tub itself is definitely functional, so that's nice. And then we have another fireplace over here. So it doesn't matter that that one back by the hot tub doesn't function because this one obviously is working quite nice. And then this is obviously kind of like outside, but it is underneath like some living area here. So it's kind of shielded maybe a little bit from the snow, a little bit of privacy. At least that's what is supposed to be my intention. But we're gonna head into these double doors, and now we are in like the basement, and this is what I'm gonna call the rec room, or like obviously like a huge like open family entertainment area. This is probably my favorite room in the whole house, and actually what inspired the decor was the bar that's kind of like circular. I thought that was really cute. And then also this lamp that like overhangs over the couch. I thought that was super like retro and kind of modern, and I loved the swatches that each of them came in, and that's how I decided to furnish. So there is a small bathroom off to the side, again just like a powder room, and then these stairs go up to the living room, which we just were. So we're actually going to stay down here. And then I do love these doors that kind of are separating these two rooms. As you can see over here, this is kind of like a kids or hangout area where I have two Sims playing at the llama, table. But they do have another fireplace in here. There's some games kind of sitting around and some decor in the corner there. We're gonna enter out of that room and kind of just go into this like long hallway. I feel like this hallway is super long and kind of awkward, and it's on the angle of the house, so it's definitely not one of my favorite like rooms or areas, just because it's so long. It was kind of difficult for me to figure out how to furnish. So we're just gonna pretend that that doesn't exist. It's not so ugly, and we're just gonna go to the second laundry room. So again, Sims can do laundry over in this one. There's one on the main level as well. We have a sauna room, and then entrance into what is going to be the home gym. So we do have the second set of staircase in the back, and this is what I was saying, I think, in the first part of the video about the extension. So in my mind, like the whole house, if we look at it from this angle, could have ended where like this whole rectangular like gym is. If we look at it from this way, like this whole section of the house could have been like an addition. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the way that I kind of see it. But anyway, the home gym, we do have like a massage table in the corner, and then there is access to like a nice kind of like, I have separate rooms for this bathroom. So the first section is just going to be like a sink. There's some lockers for you to put your stuff. And then we have a separate room for the toilet, and then another door off to the side that is going to be for the shower. So we have a corner tub back in the corner, obviously, and then a separate shower unit. And yeah, so that's a nice kind of like big bathroom. We're going to exit out of there and then head over to the stairs. This is another thing that I really like about this house. So when we look at it from this angle, we go up, and then we can go up to the third story. And I just like how this looks from the outside. I wanted to use those big windows and just really kind of showcase like the modern look of that staircase. I think that looks really, really cool. But yeah, since we're on the third level, we're going to just take a look at this room here. This is going to be what I'm going to call the like hobby room. And it's kind of divided into a couple different sections. So this side is more for like the artsy, like, I don't know, they have like the crafting stuff. That's the funny thing is I don't even really play with The Sims, so I don't even know what all of this stuff is. I just use it there for decor, and I think it looks cool. But we do have an art easel in the corner, and then some of the like gardening things on the side, more for like your planting Sims. And then of course I like to have another bathroom. And you'll notice with the bathrooms, a lot of the time I'm just using the same like pieces, the same toilet and things like that. Going down the stairs, this is going to be what I'm going to call the family room. And as you can see, my Sims definitely like to gather here. They were just dancing. We have a very large TV. So that's another thing that obviously they would enjoy doing. Christmas tree in the back corner just because I felt like it fit with the theme of the house and where we're located. Another fireplace in the far corner. And then also a bathroom tucked away over there. And then we have this hallway that, a hallway that is going to connect kind of like the whole house together. Obviously, I have a Sim kind of walking over this way, but we're going to head into the second primary bathroom or bedroom, sorry. And so with this is where we have another ensuite bathroom and like a private terrace. So this is where, you can have whoever you wanted really to have this bedroom, but it's one of that has a primary bathroom. And this one doesn't have a full tub. It just has the shower, but it does have a full sink and toilet. And then we're going to exit out of there and head into one of the kids' bedrooms. This again is supposed to be for the like younger of the two kids and kind of for a boy, I guess, but I guess it's kind of gender neutral as well, so that's nice. And then he has access to the bathroom that he shares with his sister. At least that's how my Sims live in here. But what's I like about this bathroom is I have like a separate shower and then a separate tub as well. And that's only because, again, this bathroom is pretty big. I probably could have made it smaller, but I decided to keep it kind of the same size, or as big as it is, and not making it two separate bathrooms. So, but there is a door that goes into his sister's bedroom, so we can kind of take a look at it from this angle. She has a nice canopy bed, and then again, she not like a private office, but she does have that cool gaming computer with two monitors. I really like that. And then a couple of toys, but she's again a little bit of the older Sim. So, and then she has access to the hallway that leads back out to the living room, which again is pretty much where we also have already been. So that is essentially the full house. I'm gonna zoom out so you can get a little bit of a better idea of the floor plan if you're into like trying to recreate something like this. You definitely could. Or you can just download it from the gallery because it is available. Check out the description. I will definitely link that in there for you. But we're just going to get another quick look at the outside. And I can, I guess, change this over to evening if you want to see what it looks like in the evening. And then the nighttime, I do have, obviously some outside lights. So anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. And I will see you all for my next build.